There is a drowned country at the bottom of the North Sea, and fishermen keep pulling its tools out of their nets. In 1931, a fishing trawler called the Kalinda was working the North Sea, 40 kilometers off the English coast. When the crew hauled up the net, there was a lump of peat inside. And when the skipper broke it open, a weapon fell out, a barbed spear point, carved from deer antler, sharp as the day it was made. It was 13,000 years old. Peat doesn't form in the sea, deer don't live in the sea, and nobody carves hunting weapons at the bottom of the ocean. The only explanation was one that sounded like myth. Everything under that boat's keel, an area bigger than the United Kingdom, used to be dry land. Hills, rivers, marshes, forests, people. Scientists now call it Doggerland. And it isn't a legend like Atlantis. It's real, it's mapped, and it's still down there, along with almost everything its people left behind. 20,000 years ago, the last ice age locked so much of the world's water into glaciers that sea levels sat more than 100 meters below today's. The North Sea simply wasn't there. In its place, a vast lowland plain connecting Britain to Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands. This wasn't a land bridge, a strip of mud people hurried across. It was the best real estate in Europe. Wide, slow rivers, lagoons and reed marshes full of birds and fish, herds of deer, aurochs, wild boar. To the hunter-gatherers of the Mesolithic, the coasts and wetlands were richer than any inland forest. Doggerland wasn't the road between places, Doggerland was the place. For decades, all of this was theory. Then oil companies began mapping the seabed with seismic survey ships, and archaeologists realized the energy industry had accidentally produced the most detailed map of a lost world ever made. Under the sediment in 3 dimensions. River valleys you can follow for kilometers. Lake basins, salt marshes, the mouths of streams. A drowned country, complete with geography. And the trawlers keep proving someone lived there. Mammoth teeth, worked flint, antler harpoons, human bone. Fishermen on the Dogger Bank have been pulling prehistory out of their nets for a century. And the strangest thing those nets ever brought up is still coming. Then the world warmed and the water came back. Not as a wave at first, as a rhythm. Every year a little higher. The best estimates say the sea took back 1 to 2 meters of coastline a year in the worst centuries. Within a single lifetime, a family's hunting grounds, their fishing camps, the graves of their dead, underwater. Around 8,200 years ago, what remained of Doggerland was a large low island around the Dogger Bank. A country had become an archipelago. The people who stayed were living on borrowed ground. And then, one autumn day, the sea stopped being patient. Off the coast of Norway, an underwater shelf of sediment the size of Scotland, the Storegga Slide, collapsed into the deep Atlantic. It displaced enough material to trigger a tsunami across the entire North Sea basin. On the Scottish coast, the wave left sand deposits 25 meters above the shoreline. On the low flats of Doggerland, there was no 25 meters to retreat to. The highest hill on the island may have been less than 10. We know the wave happened. The sand layer is in the soil from Norway to Scotland to Denmark. What we can't know is the scene, an autumn morning by the isotope evidence in the sediments, on flat ground, with nowhere to run. But the wave was only the beginning of what the sea took and what it kept. Whether Storegga finished Doggerland in a day, or the rising sea finished it over the following centuries, is still argued. Either way, by around 7,000 years ago, the last dry ground was gone. Britain had become an island, and a whole Mesolithic world had closed over. Here's what makes archaeologists lose sleep. Everything is still there. On land, 10,000 years destroys almost everything organic. Underwater, sealed in peat and silt without oxygen, things survive. Wooden tools, woven fish traps, paddles, possibly dwellings, hearths, burials, the entire material culture of a society we know almost nothing about. Refrigerated under the North Sea. In recent years, researchers have pulled ancient DNA straight out of seabed sediment cores, reading which plants and animals lived in a drowned valley from a tube of mud. Survey teams working the Brown Bank where finds cluster so densely they suspect a settlement, keep narrowing the search. One flint flake at a time, a lost country is coming back into focus. But there's a deadline. The same seabed is now filling with wind farms, cables, and dredgers. The race is between the archaeologists and the construction, over a landscape nobody can see. Doggerland vanished slowly enough that its people saw it happening, and their story still ended underwater, out of reach of memory. For 9,000 years, the sea kept it. Now, one net at a time, it's giving pieces back. But the sea doesn't only take countries. Sometimes it takes cities, whole in a night, with their temples standing. For 2,000 years, Egypt's greatest port was a rumor in old texts. Then a diver switched on a lamp in a dark bay, and a granite god looked back at him. The city was called Heracleon. That story is next, and if tonight's mystery held you, a like helps more people find the deep past, and subscribing brings you a new story every week. I'll see you down there.